Hello and welcome to Pilates mat work. This is the last class now in the intermediate series, and you should really be seeing a difference in your body as well as feeling a difference. We are just going to look at a few of the more difficult levels of some of the exercises that we've already done. I'm going to take you up onto your shoulders today for a shoulder stand because there are a few exercises on our shoulders. We've visited the shoulder bridge before. I'm just going to take you up to another level of the shoulder bridge. We're going to be looking at rolling with a different leg position, which is quite interesting. A couple of challenging core strength exercises, of course, and then a really nice version of the boomerang. So let's start on our hands and knees. All the usual things you should be looking out for: wrists underneath shoulders, looking down between your fingers, knees underneath the hips. And we're going to cut the body in half, okay? So I want you to get a nice long line from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Get your core muscles engaged. Think about your neutral line through the spine. You don't want your lower back sagging, but we don't want an arch like this either. So just think about how your neutral position feels. You're well aware of it by now. As you inhale, the ribs expand. As you exhale, they squeeze all the air from the lungs. So just keep the breathing going like that. So we'll be working on a little bit of protraction, retraction for the shoulder blades whilst we keep the pelvis still. And then we'll be working on some hip movements to loosen out the lower back while we keep the upper body still. It's all good practice for your body awareness. And quite often one end of the body will be doing one thing and the other end has to be kept very still and very stable. Okay, so with the shoulders, I just want you to dip down as if the chest is moving down to the ground and the shoulder blades squeeze together. And I want you to push down through the fingertips and the thumb and push all the way up as far as you can go, and you feel the shoulder blades slide apart a little, but you'll notice that the hips aren't moving. So a little bit of movement there of the shoulder blades squeezing together and then sliding apart, but the spine still lined up. So think about your neck as well. Make sure that your neck is in a good line. Give me a couple more. I know with wrists it can be a little bit tricky, so you can come up onto your knuckles if you like. Okay, now somewhere between is where our ideal position for the shoulder blades are, so hold it right there. And then we're just going to move the pelvis. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone under as if you're bringing the pubic bone up towards the navel. Feel the stretch in the lower back. Then as you inhale, reverse just to a point that feels good. So scooping, hollowing, lifting that lower belly as you exhale, and then move that tailbone away and up. One more like that. We're just scooping and hollowing, core muscles working, lower abdominal muscles, and then push the other way. Somewhere between is a nice neutral position, so find that neutral position. And now hitch that hip up towards your ribs. Come back to the center. So the navel actually stays pointing down towards the ground. So we're not swinging our hips out to the side like this. I want your legs to stay still. We're just hitching the hip up to the ribs. And squeeze. Come back to the center, and now bring the hands a little bit closer. A spine twist, but a slightly different take from the ones that we've been doing. We've got a spine twist later on. Touch the ceiling, come back down. This is just to relieve the wrists for a moment. We're going to be taking a box swim, and then we're going to be taking the swim to the ground. Just a different way of thinking about it. The swim on the ground is definitely work for your back. When we're up in box position, it's much more about creating some body awareness and maintaining stability through the shoulders and through the pelvis. One last one coming up. And now the wrist will be back underneath your shoulders. Core muscles engaged. As you exhale, reach and stretch. Coming back down as you inhale, and as you exhale, reach and stretch. So keep the shoulders away from the ears, and that's the same when we're lying face down. Keep the lift of the belly. The leg simply stretches. If you try and lift it too high, you'll be lifting the tailbone as well. Let's take one last set. So one more coming up. Use the fingers as well. Don't just put all the weight on your wrists. Okay. So from here we're going to lie face down. You take those arms out in front of you. As straight as you can get them. Don't worry if they don't come up off the ground very far. The legs just inside the width of the hips. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Press down through the pubic bone, lift the belly, and as you exhale, the two ends of the body will float up as you stretch your legs. Now the movement really is splish splash down and then back up to the starting position. You were as high as you could go, or should have been. It's a very small movement here. Reach away with the crown of the head, away with the tailbone. So you can inhale one set, you can exhale one set. Keep lifting through the navel, lift that belly. As I say, if the arms barely move off the ground, that's fine. Just think about your neck, make sure your neck is comfortable. Try and get your legs really straight as well. Sliding sheets between the waist, sheets of paper between the waist and the mat there. So we have about 10 complete breaths. We've got a couple more sets coming up. So just take care, think about the position of your head. And then release and sit back into child's pose for a moment. We've got a leg pull down coming up. Still perhaps not lifting a foot off the ground. We can do that in the more advanced levels coming up in the next program. And we're staying down on our forearms. So we've a little bit of an upper body work being up on our hands and knees. That should have warmed you up nicely. Let's come down. Now we've taken care of our shoulders. So think about your shoulder stability here. Knees, tennis ball width apart. Toes are tucked. Think about the position of the pelvis. Find your neutral. Press down through the toes, and as we exhale, notice how the hips don't come up and down. It's literally just pushing those heels away. Now, if you're still at a level whereby you really can't stretch away with both legs, go back to singles. That's absolutely fine. So, using the core muscles to maintain a nice neutral spine. Watch your neck. Maintain a nice neutral position for your neck. Think about your shoulders and shoulder blades. Now, if you want to come with me for the next bit, stay up. And we're just going to reach all the way forward onto tiptoe and stretch those heels back. All the way forward onto tiptoe, stretch back. Just make sure you're breathing one, well, obviously breathing all the time, but inhale one way, exhale the other. It's not going to make an awful lot of difference which way you do it. Last two coming up. One more. Good stretch for the legs right there into the Achilles calf muscles. Release. Excellent. Let's sit. So quite a tough addition, I know, staying up there and rocking. Later on, so I introduced you to rocking when we had our legs straight, when we rolled back, so an open leg rocker. Later on we have an exercise called the seal, and you'll find it becomes increasingly difficult to roll with control when we change position of the legs. So today we're going to have our legs crossed. We're just going to pick up our feet. Inhale, and as you exhale, engage your core muscles. And then as you inhale, we're going to roll back. Exhale up. Inhale, roll back. exhale up. Don't worry about keeping the legs absolutely still. Notice how some of you will be rolling off to the side. Just keep that control smoothly through the spine. It's quite often because of the difference in the hips and the height of the knees. If you're a little bit tighter on one side, you'll find that one knee is higher and it's going to take you off to one side. Don't worry if you're not balancing either, it's fine, but gradually we want to try and balance here. Let's have 2 more, scoop and hollow. Let's have 1 more. Okay, later on the seal's quite a fun exercise, but it is difficult for balance. So make your way all the way down onto the mat, finding that neutral pelvis. Let's see what we can do with the 100. Lengthen through the arms. As we exhale, one leg floats up, followed by the other. Those of you who are coming up with the upper body, as we exhale, we lift and tuck, but we keep the pelvis in neutral. Pump the arms up and down. So we explored 5 to inhale, 5 to exhale, of course. We explored what happens when we start to move the legs further away. Just drop those shoulders and relax. So gradually, 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 we're going to end up with our legs right out here, nice and straight. A little bit lower if you wish. You don't have to go any lower than 45 degrees. And we want to keep the weight off the legs here by using the core muscles more efficiently. So stay gently lifted through the upper body, resting onto the tip of the shoulder blades, lengthen through the arms. Try not to do this kind of thing. You can squeeze the legs together, turn them out a little, pelvic floor lifted, belly drawn back. So this is as much an exercise in coordinating the breathing, your neutral position, and engaging your core muscles all at the same time, and challenging yourself a little bit more by increasing the angle at the hip. Okay, you can release, hug those thighs in a couple of times. So moving up into a shoulder stand. If you still feel that you're not quite ready for it, or you have neck problems, you might want to miss this out, but we have done quite a lot of preparation. So easiest way is probably from sitting up. So let's come up and we'll get a little bit of momentum. Use the arms, use the core, and don't rely totally on momentum. You need quite a lot of control so that we don't roll all the way back. So when you're ready, inhale. And as you exhale with your core muscles engaged, scoop and hollow, catch your hips, and that's all there is to it. Now wiggle yourselves up higher onto your shoulders, bring the chin to the chest, and look at the pelvis. Now my pubic bone is far too close. It's in front of my hip bones, so I have to push the tailbone away until I'm in neutral, and that's going to be the biggest challenge for you. To counterbalance now, I need to stretch my legs. Okay, and that's all we're going to do with it for now. If you feel that all your weight is on your head, you need to just let your hips drop away a little. Relax your chin to your chest, lengthen through the neck. So later on, once we start to move the legs, it starts obviously to get trickier. I just want you to hold it here and think about neutral. So notice how my back is curved here. That's definitely not what we want. We need to push the hips away, give those legs a good stretch. Okay, now bend the knees. We're smoothly going to roll down, and we're going to place our feet on the ground. Ready to come up into shoulder bridge. So shoulder bridge, we're coming up onto our shoulders. Make sure again you keep that length through the neck. So a little bit more of a challenge for you today, perhaps, if you're ready for a challenge. Tennis ball between the knees, or perhaps something slightly smaller for some of you. We're going to inhale up. So when you're ready, pelvic floor lifted, lower belly drawn back. Just tuck, scoop, hollow as you inhale smoothly up. And then as you exhale smoothly down. And give me 3 like this. On the third one, you're going to stay up. So we're just thinking about how our back feels, but looking also at setting up in neutral again. So those shoulder stands in the complete sequence really start to create your awareness, build your awareness for neutral position in mid-air. So this time you're going to stay up. We're going to go straight into the exercise. So as you move on up, shift your body weight to the right foot, pressing firmly down through the right foot. And as you exhale, we lift the left heel. Inhale, shifting the body weight to the left, we lift the right heel. Some of you will be able to lift your foot, keep reaching away with the tailbone. Go ahead, lift the foot. Check that you're not rocking and rolling with the hips, no pressure in the lower back. Adjust the position of the pelvis. Sometimes just a millimeter makes all the difference. Pelvic floor lifted. Those of you who are lifting a foot, stretch the leg. You can have a flexed foot for a really good hamstring stretch there. And lift and stretch. So those of you who are lifting a leg straight up, if you feel like a little bit more of a challenge, check your hips, keep the legs parallel, push the foot out. Make sure you're not sliding back. We don't want the weight in the head and the shoulders. Reach and stretch. Those of you who want even more of a challenge, you could lift the leg to the ceiling. You could draw a line along the ceiling without letting this hip move, or hitch, by the way. You could stretch the leg back up, give me a flex to stretch the hamstring, bring that leg down. Push down through the right foot. If you're ready for the challenge, stretch it up, reach away, take it up, give me a flex, keep the distance here. One last one coming up now. Watch your lower back, make sure that your lower back is happy. Reach away, reach away, reach away. Just check that you're right on top of the foot there. And now bring that foot down and let's smoothly roll all the way back down. Let's find a neutral position. It's quite hard to not push down with the head, but you will get used to that. From here, let's let those legs float up. We've done the prep for upper body and the legs for the double leg stretch, so we're going to give it a go today. When you're ready, as you exhale, lift with the upper body, tuck, scoop, hollow. Remember that tray of marbles? When you're ready then, exhale, stretching the arms and legs away. Don't be too overambitious for your first one. Come back in. Try it again. And you can make the movement bigger and bigger. If you find it's too much with your head and shoulders up, take your head and shoulders down. But the object of the exercise of having the upper body up is when you take those arms back, you really challenge your abdominal muscles to keep you lightly on your shoulder blades, on the tip of the shoulder blades, I should say. So keep it going, reach, stretch, pull up the pelvic floor, pull that lower belly back, little right peach between your chin and your chest, reaching and stretching, bring it round. Last one, reach and stretch. Bring it round, hug your thighs in, let your head roll from side to side. Excellent, that's a really effective core strength, abdominal strength exercise. So from there, let's come all the way up. If you need to be sitting up on a block or a blanket for the spine twist, go ahead. So I'm going to be sitting up with my legs straight. We're going to take a slightly different position with the arms today. If it gets too much for your shoulders, please just bring your hands back to prayer. Let's try taking our arms out, drop the shoulders right down. Those feet should not move. We inhale to prepare, and as we exhale, keep the arms wide as we twist to the side. We inhale back to the center, and as we exhale, we turn. If you feel your feet kind of slipping and sliding on the ground, almost a scissoring action, you know that your hips are moving, so just use your core muscles to prevent any movement into the hips. Watch that you don't do this kind of thing either. So, body weight firmly balanced on top of both sit bones, and we're moving from the waist up. So, a little bit of work on mobility for the thoracic area of the spine, that long middle back area. Last one coming up. Then from here, you've got a leg pull down. So circle out the shoulders. If you're sitting on your block, you need to come off it now. And we're going to have our fingers facing straight ahead. If you can't, then turn them out. A little bit of work for the back of the upper arms today. This is quite tough. So press down through the feet, scoop and hollow the belly, roll those shoulders back, find that nice neutral spine, and up you go. If you feel like your mat's kind of pulling up towards you, take your hands further back. So from here, push down through the feet firmly. Bend the elbows as you inhale, lower body comes down a little and stretch. Now quite often in class what I see is just the body moving and the elbows aren't bending at all, so check that you are bending your elbows. Keep reaching away with the balls of the feet as if you're trying to get the balls of the feet down to the ground. If you're getting cramped, pull those toes back. Okay, try not to just let the hips rock down and up. The body should be moving because you're bending your elbows, and try and lift all the way up to the top each time without pushing your belly up. So all the hard work is almost done. Just give me a couple more now. One last one, we'll do it. And then we can release and shake it out. Okay, so we come to the boomerang. This involves going back over onto your shoulders and a spine stretch. Later on we throw in a teaser as well. This is the nice part of the boomerang. So we're going to stretch the legs out and we're going to cross the legs. We're going to inhale to prepare, and as we exhale, scoop the belly. Watch that you don't reach forward with the shoulders as well, up and over. As you inhale and come up, you might want to bend your knees. And as you exhale, scoop and stretch. Now here, we're going to cross the legs the other way. We're going to smoothly roll down, coming up, stretch the legs and reach. Sitting up, bend the knees if you need to, rock it back, cross the other way. As you exhale, all the way up. Always bending the knees if you need to. So if you don't have that abdominal strength to protect your back, to have your legs straight, then please keep them bent. Scooping and hollowing, coming up. Pull the shoulders back gently as you lift the belly. Smoothly. There's the knee bend if you need it. Same on the way. Up. You can bend the knees. Coming up. Watch your back. It should be a nice stretch. Let's take one more. Smoothly down, scoop and hollow. Watch the breathing. Reach and lift. Okay, and from there you can either sit or you can come up onto your knees. The back of the arms work quite hard there, so I just want to give them a stretch. If you raise one arm up and take it down between the shoulder blades, you can ease it back from here. If you can reach up behind and link the fingers, then go ahead and do that. So nice long spine, just draw back with the belly a little. So very effective exercise there for the triceps, the leg pull down. Later on in the more advanced series, we're going to attempt to lift a leg with that one. Okay, so even without the dips, the triceps are working very hard. Let's ease the elbow back. You might find that it's easier one side. If you can link, go ahead and do so. Okay, so from here, let's just release. Let's take the head down to one side. And let's just slowly bring the chin down across the chest. So going up onto your shoulders, really working towards the more advanced exercises there. It's quite difficult to find your neutral position in space, but that is really what we've been building up to be doing. And of course it takes quite a lot of mobility into your neck and into your back. But the more you practice, the easier these exercises become. And come back to the center. Okay, well done. That is the end of your intermediate series of classes. Next step, advanced.